Hey, thanks again for pressing play and welcome once again to another edition of the Suns Jam Session podcast on the Bleav Podcast Network, brought to you by FanDuel. Where if you were a little ballsy on FanDuel tonight and you said, you know what, I'm going to go with Devin Booker, 2 threes in this game, you were boned because he didn't survive the game. Suns lose. They start the second. They start the All-Star break, the post-All-Star break, the same way they ended the pre-All-Star break, by getting their teeth kicked in by a team that sits atop the Western Conference standings. Before the All-Star break, it was the Oklahoma City Thunder that handed the Suns a loss on a silver platter. Tonight in Austin, Texas, against the San Antonio Spurs, the same thing happens. In Oklahoma City, they sat everybody. There was no Devin Booker. There was no Jalen Green, no Grayson Allen. Dillon Brooks played, but he got a technical foul, and ultimately that's why he was out tonight against the San Antonio Spurs. But Grayson Allen was a late scratch, and then, of course, Devin Booker gets hurt somewhere in the game. Didn't look right, although he did look right until he didn't look right. So an unfortunate loss, and it starts to open up that door of doubt. But there's plenty to talk about relative to that as we delve into this one on the Suns Jam Session podcast. Again, if you have an opportunity, please hit that thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, support the podcast however you can, because we're always here for you through thick and thin, through day and night, through hot and cold, through north and south, through purple and orange. That was poetic.
Hey, you're listening to the Suns Jam Session podcast, shooting the shit about the Suns since 2019.
Matthew, here we are, post All-Star break. Shit. That was one of those games that I just wanted to get over, because once Booker went out, you kind of knew this one was over. And it took a long time, I feel like it took longer than it should have.
Yeah, definitely. Just really quick, too. I think I commented last time on my laughing, and I was listening to Tom Chambers, and he laughs all the time. Like, dude, why do you have to laugh at everything? And I do the same thing. So I'm a hypocrite. Yeah, it's the last time I do that, right? I got to keep a straight face because it's gut-wrenching right now.
Laugh at
Suns
this.
basketball.
Matthew, I've got to ask.
Are you serious?
Matthew, I got to ask.
Mm-hmm.
What can you take from a game like this, and how would you feel playing the Spurs in the first round?
You laughed. I can't help it, dude. You're just too funny. I don't know. Maybe Tom Leander's funny too. I don't know.
Maybe he's like touching his thigh under the desk.
Yeah, he probably is like a little,
Give him a little
poker,
tickle.
Like, wee, wee, wee. This was a weird game. I think we're all excited as Suns fans to get back to it and just really see what we have against the Spurs. But you realize Dillon Brooks is suspended. He's not playing, the heart and soul of our team. So it's going to be definitely a different outlook for this team on the floor. Booker gets hurt. It's just one of those. It's like, damn, dude, is this going to happen? Because we knew it was all coming, right? Where they're going to hit a wall, but there might be more injuries. There might be something that might kind of make the Suns fans doubt this team a little bit. And I think it's happening right now, obviously, with this game. And the upcoming schedule is a little tough, so it might be looking downward at times. But I mean, how do we keep the faith? I don't know. I think that I'm okay with it, because I feel like maybe this team is just a 7th seed. Maybe they are a playing team after all, and I'm okay with that still. So I don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where I didn't expect to win this game, and I guess that's okay. I don't know. I know some people bang the drum of, man, you got to believe in this team every night, man. They can do it. I'm like, yeah, they can. But coming into this All-Star break, as I mentioned on previous podcasts, it's been a rough February. Injuries definitely play a part of that, but this is a team that a lot of teams have kind of figured out. And they're kind of like, I almost feel like a nickname is brewing for this team. And the nickname I have for him, Matthew, is the Sometime Soon Suns, because it's like sometime soon everyone's going to be healthy. Sometime soon Jalen Green's going to be here. Sometime soon Devin Booker will be back. Sometime soon we'll see Grayson Allen. Sometime soon Dillon Brooks will be available. And every night there's another reason. And this isn't foreign to teams across the NBA, but with the Phoenix Suns, it just feels like, it's a team that a lot of teams now, especially post All-Star break, when a lot of teams are really starting to ramp up for the postseason. And teams that are on the fringe are fighting to get in the play-in. And teams like the Suns are fighting to get out of the play-in and into the actual postseason without having to play that extra game. Combine that with the fact that there's a lot of film on the Suns. A lot of teams know what they're going to get when they play the Suns, and they're a little bit more prepared. The sometime soon Suns aren't going to come up and surprise you anymore. Teams are prepared to play them. Now, granted, tonight is one of those oddities, right? A night where, again, Grayson Allen, late scratch. Everyone was excited yesterday because he wasn't on the injury report. We're like, oh, sweet, man. Like, everybody's available except Haywood Highsmith, who the Suns acquired and hasn't played all year because of a meniscus injury. So we're going to be good. We're going to be great. We have an opportunity to although it is the San Antonio Spurs, a team that's on a 6-game winning streak and playing extremely well, we have an opportunity to compete. Did you feel like the Suns competed in this one, knowing that eventually, yes, Grayson Allen did get scratched, Devin Booker did get hurt? How competitive of a game ultimately was this for Phoenix?
It was competitive because it kind of kept it tight in the second quarter, hitting big threes. I mean, keeping it to a 12-point deficit, that was a big victory to me entering the first half or the second half. But other than that, once this third quarter started and then the fourth quarter, like, oh shit, they're down by 30. It was obviously over then. The competitiveness, you can kind of see even heading into the All-Star break. It wasn't like a thing where you're worried about this team competing every minute like they have been. But when the injuries start to pile, when guys start to come back and things start to kind of get mixed up a little bit, kind of, screwing up what you kind of started the season with, it kind of messes with, I feel like, just the chemistry of this team. And you can just tell, I think it's more of just the chemistry and how this team's playing, plus guys are missing. And I just don't think the team has it in them to kind of put up the points, play the defense like they could. They can't rely on guys behind them. Oso does the best he can defensively, but when you play a tall team like this and, the Spurs is going to be horrendous on the boards. They're going to lose every battle, I feel like, down there. So it can be defeating to them. And I think they're human. I think they're going to go through this, but it's up to Ott really to get them back on track. But it's also up to, these guys to stay healthy. And it's up to Dillon Brooks not to have another 2 technical fouls to be suspended because these games are very crucial. Like, he's a heart and soul. Even if Booker's out there this whole game, we don't win the game. We know who the real, Sun is, who the real leader, the real guy out there to kind of pull this team together. It is Dillon Brooks. So we can't win these games without him, which is weird to say, but it's the truth.
See, the thing I take away from a game like this, ultimately, there's not much, in my opinion. It's almost like a repeat of playing Oklahoma City, right? When we didn't have anybody available for that game. The only thing you take away from this, and we'll touch on it a little bit later, is just the fact that Devin Booker's now hurt. It's just like, tag, you're it now. It's like, oh, your hips are hurt. Cool, that's 2 weeks. But you can't really take too much because you knew, again, the Spurs are just on a different level. And it's so frustrating to see the Spurs, again, with all this talk of tanking going on. This is a team that tanked consistently for like 5 years and rewarded time and time again. And now the NBA is like, nah, we need to do something about this. Like, dude, this whole fucking team. I mean, they've got Stephon Castle, they got Dylan Harper, they got Wemby every year. They sat Wemby for half the season last year because they wanted to get another opportunity for a pick. So it's just typical. It's a reminder of how luck always breaks. And no matter what you look in throughout the history of the Phoenix Suns, ultimately the luck breaks the wrong way. And in the history of the Spurs, since the mid to late 90s, the luck has always broken the right way. And so when I take a look at this game, I ultimately go, you know what? I didn't expect to win this one. I was hoping for a competitive game just to kind of see how this team came out from the All-Star break. To your point, not having Dillon Brooks is big. I think we can still win this game without Dillon Brooks. I do, because of Devin Booker's abilities and what Jalen Green brought for us tonight. I think that both of those were valuable. Not having Devin Booker is something that hurt this team, because I feel like in that first quarter they were playing off of each other and they were doing it well. But ultimately, if only we had Jeremy Sochan, man, he would have gobbled up all the boards. He's 6'8", but he's an amazing rebound. He's the best rebounder ever, apparently, according to a lot of people. So obviously, I'm being facetious. And
I was going to say, wait, is that a hot take I missed by you?
Oh man,
I saw him today with the Knicks. They added him right after Alvarado.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'll say that it's just one of those things where obviously we haven't been on the air for the past 8 days. I've
Mhm.
been doing all Phoenix Suns all time pyramid stuff, but I haven't really talked about things going around. For some reason, at the trade deadline or in the buyout market, Jeremy Sochan, man, I had no idea there were so many people out there who are like, dude, that's like there was just one of those days where I got into like Twitter arguments with people
Mhm.
about Jeremy Sochan. I had wrote a whole piece on Brightside just because it got me so frustrated that everybody thinks that Jeremy Sochan is exactly what the Suns needed. And then, it's like whoever the 15th guy coming in or the 14th guy coming in on the bench isn't going to sway this team, isn't going to
No.
win tonight's game.
No.
And that's the argument everybody's making. Well, he has size. He can come in. He's 6'8", man. When they got Victor Wembanyama and Luke Cornett out there, yeah, like Jeremy Sochan, that's the answer. And it's just this constant reminder that every year the buyout market happens. Guys who have been cut from a team like the Spurs, this team he played for, get cut, and people think that automatically that is the person who's going to be the savior of a season or what can push a certain team over the top, and they rarely do. So
No, they never do, and I'm so glad the Suns are not that team right now. I feel like
yes,
I know you see the side of the Suns fans, like especially with Brightside and being on Twitter most of the time, where they're actually reaching out, like, "Hey, this can actually save our franchise this year, or maybe put us in the second or third round." That's not going to happen. When you hear like the team like the Rockets, who are a team that's supposed to be favorites to go to the championship, are like, "We need a point guard. We need to hit the buyout market. We got to make a trade." Like that's when you're in trouble. There's not a trade. There's not a buyout
yeah.
guy that's going to come in and save a team. It starts from the beginning of the season. If you have it, you have it. If you have to go out and buy somebody, it's not going to work out. We've seen that so many times, and that's why I'm glad the Suns team obviously didn't make any decisions or drastic
Well, I
changes.
mean,
'Cause they
they
didn't need
added
to.
Wood Highsmith, and that's where I think a lot
Yeah,
of the
something
frustration.
small.
Everyone's like, "Well, he's only 6'5", and it's like, yeah, but you're thinking too short term to understand the long term move. The short term is like, well, we need size, therefore go and
Yeah,
get size. Meanwhile, these are the same people who are frustrated that Nick Richards left. It's like, well, we had fucking size. Just because you have size
it
doesn't mean
doesn't
it's
matter.
productive size. The Suns brought in Haywood Highsmith as a flyer because he's a 3-and-D guy. And guess what? This upcoming offseason, if they want to trade Royce O'Neal and his $10 million contract and get something back, Haywood Highsmith could have an opportunity to fit in with this Phoenix Suns organization, potentially long term or potentially for a season. So the Suns are out here playing chess while the fan base is playing checkers, kind of moving pieces on the board. And I love what you said, Matthew, because it's so true. If you're a team that's sitting there saying that we need a point guard right now, that's the missing piece, then you're already half fucked because your team
Yeah.
isn't in a position to be as successful as you initially thought because you're contemplating that. Combine that with the fact that every team in the NBA has a deficiency. The Oklahoma City
Yeah.
Thunder have a deficiency. Houston does. San Antonio. Everybody. You can talk. I wrote a whole article about how there's no such thing as the perfect roster because you can have what you
Mhm.
think is the perfect roster, but if you don't coach them correctly or you don't pull the right levers in a specific game, that you'll still lose. There's still always an opportunity to lose. Even the teams that win a championship, they don't win because they have a perfect roster. They win because of multiple different factors, whether it be opposing teams were injured along the way, whether it be specific matchups that they were very keen in at exploiting. But ultimately, you can go and you can ask the Boston Celtics who won 2 years ago or the Oklahoma City Thunder who won last year and ask a fan like, hey, I know it's awesome you won. Did you have a perfect roster? They're like, no, dude, we cannot shoot the three coming off the bench, man. Like that was a huge challenge for us. Or no, we didn't have size. So again, there's this, it's part of sport. It's part of chasing perfection, but you have to understand that you're never going to obtain it. And the amount of
Yeah.
people who I see, and again, this is my own fault from going on that stupid application and seeing what people are saying. And I'm interacting a lot less because it's just like, people are like, you're an idiot thinking that Chris Boucher is better than Jeremy Sochan. Like, they're both fucking dog shit. Like if they're available, they're not great players, people.
Yeah, they're not someone that's going to change your franchise. And it comes down to effort with a lot of these guys and a lot of these teams, too. Like the perfect roster. And again, I'm always going to talk about the Rockets because they were the favorites. They were the
Yeah.
perfect roster. Dorian Finney Smith's added, like, oh my God, I can't believe they have him. Clint Capella, what the fuck? This team's perfect. Like, that's what we looked at going into the season. But you realize when Fred VanVleet gets hurt, obviously it turns everything around and they're not going to be as dominant because they need that guy. But also, when you're looking at these teams, you're like, who's going to be the favorite going to the playoffs? Like, we don't know. Like, we're just playing the Spurs team right now that I feel like has a chance to even go to the championship. I think it's up in the air. This might be the best team at the right night, the right series, the right matchups. Obviously, you have Wemby, but we saw even tonight, Cornette is just so fucking dominant at times.
Yeah.
It's annoying as hell. It's like, which one would you choose? Like, this guy is more annoying than I feel like Wemby was tonight. Like, Cornette was like fucking dominating. I know it's only like 10-9 or whatever, but these guys, they're stacked, they're deep. They've been playing together for a little bit. They have the right rookies. They have the right guys, the right coach. Everything's kind of working out, but they're still not as dominant as like they are the automatic favorite to win the championship.
There is none this year. And that's what's fun about basketball this year. Yes. Yeah, this isn't 10 years ago where every year it was the Cavs and the Warriors. And even when the season began, you're like, what's the fucking point? Whereas this year, there's a lot of teams that have an ability to ultimately win a championship. I mean, the number one seed in all of basketball right now is the Detroit Pistons after tonight beating the New York Knicks.
Do you believe in them to be the best team in the league? No,
I think they're a great team.
They're great.
And again, because of this conversation, you could sit there and you could look at it through the eyes of a Suns fan and go, you know what? Why not us, right? Why not take a couple swings right now to try to go and win a championship? And ultimately, it's because I believe that this team just doesn't have it. And that's okay. I'm okay. I came to peace with that. And many of us did this past summer. But now that some success has occurred, a mindset has changed relative to changed expectations. People, they're like, well, they're better now, so I expect more. And I'm still of the mindset of like, no, they're right where they should be. They shouldn't rush their long-term plan in order to achieve short-term goals or the possibility of short-term goals, because we know what happened with that in the past. And you see it with Rockets fans right now. I admit it. I'll go and I'll check out their Reddit page and see what their fans are talking about. And a lot of them are like, man, I wish we had a Dylan Brooks. I kind of miss Jalen Green. They blame a lot of the issues on their coach, Ime Udoka, versus Kevin Durant. And I'm like, oh, man, they got KDS, right? They got Kevin derangement syndrome, because they're not willing yet to admit that part of the issue is the fact that Kevin Durant's on your team. And when burner account kind of situations come around, it can't be. I'll just say that it can't be good for the locker room. I don't think it's something that galvanizes a locker room. But you take a look at kind of what they're going through as a fan base, and it's because they rushed. They rushed their window. If I was Houston, you and I talked about this last year when the conversations were, well, should the Rockets trade for Durant? And I think we both landed the same.
We both said no. We both said no. The process, you're almost there. You
like,
might have been in the finals this year if you kept
it together. And not even that. It's the fact that OKC is what they are. San Antonio's coming, and you're about 2 or 3 years away, continuing on this trajectory of being a team that once those teams have to start paying players and breaking up their roster, you're right there to kind of take the mantle. Don't rush it, because that's what the Suns did. The Suns fell for the same thing of, hey, there's a chance now. Let's swing for it. And I think that there's certain times and places when that's a good strategy. But I know that this season right now for the Phoenix Suns, it's not that time. And the reminder is, regardless of what happened tonight relative to injuries and suspensions, we're not ready to play against a team like the Spurs. We're not ready to play against a team like the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I don't know if anybody remembers, but Denver's fucking owned our asses this year. So we're not ready to take on any of the top 3 teams in the Western Conference. And we'll see that come playoff time. It'll be a fun little run. We'll get some extra basketball this year. And then we really get to have some very interesting and engaging conversations this upcoming offseason about what to do next. What do we do with Grayson and Royce and Jalen? We don't have any draft capital. And what are our expectations next year for Rasheer and Kaman Malawatch? I mean, and what are our expectations of this team next year? Because this year we entered without expectations. Next year we'll have some, won't we, Matthew?
We will, and that's the biggest thing right now. If you're looking at the end of the season, you're thinking like, hey, is Devin Booker going to have one of those injuries where it just ends the season right now? We have to look forward to this hip contusion or whatever's going on, and it's going to be lingering, and it's like, you know what, we're going to be an 8th or 9th seed. Who knows if someone can creep up above us? Maybe not, but if we go into the play and we end up losing because of injuries, or we just are not as consistent as we were, because like you said, the second half of the season is going to be these teams coming in and actually playing hard, playing defense, playing to get a higher seed and playing for positioning, then we're going to see a different kind of Suns team. How are they going to respond? If they don't respond well, then we go the way of like, all right, we have next season. This is a great start. We didn't expect this, But right now, our expectations are: I want the playoffs. I want a first round win. I want to maybe make the Western Conference Finals, because who knows? Because this team might beat anybody. Who knows? That's how we were feeling before. A lot of us were. I was included. I was like, maybe the Charlotte Hornets and Suns are in the finals. Who knows? But you'll see the real teams show themselves now within the next few weeks and month, and then you'll see how the Suns respond. That's why it is crucial to have these guys on the floor right now. And when they're not, you're not going to see it, because the Suns are not built around Jalen Green. We haven't had that yet. This guy's obviously going to score, but to have him as our main guy, it hasn't even happened this year yet. It
happened tonight. I mean, tonight was the first night when he was the guy.
You're going to end up losing a game by 30 points because he's our main guy, and I don't blame him. It's just going to take some time. So if they get the guys healthy, we'll be okay.
I'm okay with him being the main guy when the other guys are on the court and they're kind of, supporting him, because that was a challenge tonight. There was no support for him. It's like Dylan Brooks carrying the team with both Booker and Green out. Like I love Dylan Brooks trying to add some offense. I don't like it when he's the primary guy and no one's there to support him. But let me ask you this question real quick, because I was thinking about this, and we'll talk a little bit about the game. But again, there's not really much to talk about in my opinion. What do you think the Suns' final record is going to be this season? Because we have now 26 games left.
Yeah.
We're 32 and what, 24? Does that sound right? 56 games down, 26 to go. Yeah, we're 32 and 24, so we're 8 games above 500.
Yep.
What do you think the Suns finish at this year?
So are we saying over under 48 wins?
That's the question. That's the question.
Because that's going to give you an opportunity to be in the top 6. And right now, the way it's looking, I think the Suns are dead set on that 7th or 8th seed. So I'm going, if this is a thing where Booker is in and out of the lineup and we don't have anything that's consistent, I'm saying under 48 wins, but that still lands as their 7th seed.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. So I would say maybe 47, maybe 46 wins to end the season.
So here's what I did to kind of do to figure this out is I took a look at the remaining schedule prior to tonight's game. And the remaining schedule, the Suns have 14 games on the road, 13 at home. But more importantly, they have 14 against teams over the 500 mark. Again, that included tonight. And thus far this season, they were 13 and 17 against teams over 500. Okay, so that's a 433 winning percentage against teams over 500. Against teams under 500, they have 13 games left. And they're 19 and 6 this season against teams under 500. So the Suns have feasted on shitty teams. And I love seeing that, because there's nothing more frustrating than losing to a shitty team. And so if you take that 760 winning percentage and you kind of multiply 760 winning percentage time the amount of games they have left, 13, and then 433 against a winning percentage against teams that over 500, again 14, it puts the Suns at 17 and 12 in their last 27 games, and that puts them at 49 and 33. And that's why 48 is such a good number. And so I want to say the Suns, and I will say this, the Suns will finish 49 and 33 this year, because the reason is this team continues to surprise. And Luigi 602, great name, by the way, in the chat says, how many tank teams do we play? So if you look at the easiest opponents remaining on the Suns schedule, they have the Kings once. That's a tank team. You have the Pelicans once. That's a team that's not going to tank because they don't have their pick, but they also don't have a lot of talent. They play the Pacers once, which I wouldn't really define as a tank team. They still play hard. They play the Jazz once, tank team. They play the Mavs once, tank team. And they play Memphis one, not a tank team, but just not a good team. So 49 and 33 is where I'm going to end. And the only reason I say that, again, is because if this team has taught us anything this season, it's to expect the unexpected, to acknowledge all the reasons it should not work, and then sit back and enjoy when it does. And I know it feels weird saying that on a night where it didn't work, but that's where I'm at. I'm saying over the 48, or 48 and a half is like the number, right? So I'll take the over, you'll take the under. One of us has got to be right and one of us got to be wrong. Because normally on a lot of things this year, Matthew, we've agreed.
Yeah, we have. But I mean, we kind of came on this season not even knowing what to expect. But I like the fact that, when we're looking at the West, those 6 teams that are top 6 right now, they really pop. But they're also, I feel like, just beatable. We talked about that before. But when you're looking at the Suns at the 7th seed, and if they do finish 7th, they do play the Spurs, obviously,
yes.
2nd. The Spurs,
how do you feel about that?
I'm okay with it. Like, I feel like the top 3, like you said, are like they're definitely juggernauts, but they're beatable to me. But this is a different NBA now, to where I think even like the commentator, anybody analyzing the game, guys that are ESPN, all that, when they're like presenting these games in the playoffs, I don't think it's gonna be one of those things where it's like, oh well, it's gonna be a sweep, the Thunder or the Spurs sweep the
True.
Suns. It's like if the Suns play like they have been in the first half to finish the season, they're not gonna be a team that anyone's gonna mess with, which I'm kind of scared about that, because I feel like I like the Suns being kind of an underdog. I'm not saying anyone's gonna pick the Suns over the Spurs and Thunder, but I think the biggest thing would be like they're gonna go to 6 games. They might take them to 7 games. Like that's how good I think the Suns team is if they're healthy. But I'm okay with it, man. Like I want the competition, and tonight we didn't
Heck
see
yeah.
it like that Thunder game before. But when we don't see it 3 games in a row, that's when it becomes scary. And I just think that the Suns team has to give us a 5-game stretch of being healthy, being on the floor, being together, and showing us what they can do against teams, because it's coming up. They're going to have some competitive, hard-fought games against the top teams in the West. I just want to see what they look like against those guys again, or against those teams.
So now I have a pair of standings-based questions for you. All right, first, let's say the Suns finish the 7th seed, which is where they're currently slotted. They're currently 2 games back of the 6th seed, as well as the 5th seed, because the Lakers and the Timberwolves are both 8 games behind the Oklahoma City Thunder after tonight. The Golden State Warriors are the team that sits behind the Suns in the standings, right? They're 2.5 games back.
Yeah.
And they're 2.5 games in front of both Portland and the Clippers. Do you think Portland or the Clippers could catch Golden State, or does Golden State ultimately end up being the 8th seed?
I think Golden State's the one team that ends up being the 10th. Clippers and the Blazers right now. The Blazers were falling off, but they come back. They had a nice little push towards All-Star break, and they're a team that I feel like are kind of even with the Clippers. But I think those teams finish 8 and 9.
And just so everyone's aware, after the Clippers, there's a 5.5 game gap
it's over
to the
those
11th
games.
seed. So it's not like last season when the Suns, fuck the Suns last year. So this is a valid question, because if you think about it, the Suns versus the Warriors this year. And so if the Suns played the Warriors own the Suns this year. Okay? They're one team that we have had a real hard time with. Portland, we've played well against. The Clippers, we played well against until recently, and then they blew us out. But this is a different team now. They don't have Zubats. They don't got Harden. So of those 3 teams, if you're the 7th seed, if we're playing this scenario out to the end of the season, if you're the 7th seed, which of those 3 teams would you prefer to play?
Oh, it'd be the Blazers for sure. I know they have size, but this is why I don't want to be the 7th seed, because like you said, it can come down. It'd be 2 games. Obviously, you just have to win one, and then you can win the second one if you don't win the first one. But I don't want to even touch it. I don't want to touch any of these teams right now, like, because I just feel like if it's home court for the Suns, you win. I think they can get behind their crowd. They can beat any of these teams. But if you have to like kind of play a team like the Clippers, if they lose and they have to, you know what I mean? Kawhi can go off. Like we saw in the All-Star game, like the 31 points in 1 quarter. You just don't want to face this team where they have guys that can go off and they can win a game single-handedly by themselves, like Steph Curry. So I would stay away from them and just make sure we're playing the Blazers for the 7th seed.
Okay, so now my second standings-based question for you. The Suns aren't catching the Thunder. The Suns aren't catching the Spurs. There's a possibility they catch the Denver Nuggets, but they're 3.5 games back from them, and I don't think that's possible. I don't think they catch the Rockets, but the Lakers and the Timberwolves I feel are attainable. Do you think the Suns could jump either the Lakers or the Timberwolves? Of those 2 teams, and you could throw the Rockets in there if you want to for the sake of argument. Of those 3 teams, the Rockets, the Lakers, and the Timberwolves, do any of them give you signs that they could fall back enough into the standings where they're in the 7th seed and the Suns are above them in the standings, whether it be the 6th or the 5th?
No, I don't. I think going into this game, I just thought it was a 7th seed season. The reason is it just reminds me of like when you're watching a game and let's just say it's one of the 10 seeds playing the 7th seed, like last year in the play-in. You're like, oh, maybe there's a chance that the Memphis Grizzlies can upset the Warriors or something like that for the 7th seed. But you just know the whole game. It's not going to happen. You just know they're not going to be able to catch up to this team. They're going to be down by 20, by 10, maybe push it to 2 or 3 at the end of the game, but they're not going to hit the big shot to win. That's the Suns this year. I feel like they're going to be the team that really has a nice push. They're going to be a game and a half game maybe, but I just do feel this is going to be a 7th seed year for the Suns. And I've come to terms with it. I feel like by All-Star break, I'm like, I like the Suns' effort and stuff, and I love the fact that we jumped to the 4th seed. But it's not going to happen, I feel like, this year.
So I feel like it's possible because of two different factors. One, both the Lakers and the Minnesota Timberwolves are similar to the Suns. Now, they're a little bit better, but they're similar in they don't play well against teams above 500. The Minnesota Timberwolves are 12-13. The Lakers are 11-13. And if you look at the strength of schedule remaining, Minnesota has the third hardest strength of schedule. The Lakers have the eighth hardest strength of schedule. And the Suns, by playing tonight, they did have the ninth toughest strength of schedule, but after playing San Antonio tonight, they dropped to the 16th. So if we're looking at strength of schedule remaining, knowing that those teams they have a hard time against tough teams, and like the Suns play the Lakers next week, that's actually a big game for seeding purposes. I think it's possible because again, if I'm thinking this team's going to end up with 49 wins, a win shy of 50, which is fucking insane to think about, but if they can finish with 49 wins, they're in the 5th or 6th seed, in my opinion.
Yeah, these two teams, the Lakers and the Timberwolves, have showed me that they've kind of been lazy this year. And
yes.
The Rockets have looked really bad at times. And I would Believe that, going at any game, the Rockets are beatable. And I feel like any game, I feel like the Lakers are beatable. Yeah, I know. But, with the Lakers, the way that they've kind of just, I don't even know how they have 33 wins, to tell you the truth, because I feel like I've watched a lot of Lakers games and nothing ever seems cohesive. They hate a guy in DeAndre Ayton there, and they just have a hard time staying healthy with Austin Reeves.
They started off hot, man. They played
Luka.
A lot of shitty teams at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, that's what's so frustrating.
The
Suns' slow start really cost them. So that's the difference there.
Like 1-4 start.
Mm-hmm.
And we've lost some dumb games, and I'm sure they've lost some dumb games as well. But all of this is kind of pending on the news that we'll hear over the next couple days.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is
Big Dick Booker.
So Devin Booker tonight only played a total of 8 minutes and 47 seconds. He had 5 points. He was 2 of 6 from the field, 0 of 2 from beyond the arc. 5 minutes left in the first quarter. Went to the locker room. He came back, about halfway through the second quarter. Played for a little bit. Went back to the locker room. It's a right hip contusion. Hip contusions. That's what's kept Jalen Green out. It's kept Grayson Allen out this year. Did you see anything?
No, he was gone, and I was like, oh, is he getting pulled early in the first quarter now and just letting Jalen Green finish the first? That's what I thought. But also with these injuries now with Booker, has he just had them all season long? He just pushed through them because Jalen Green's been out, and they've had to win these games to stay afloat in the Western Conference. And now that he's actually has support kind of in a way with Jalen Green, he can take time off. Is that what's happening? Because it doesn't make sense how he's just all of a sudden hurt all the time with Jalen Green out. It just keeps coming back.
I just think that he has been beating the shit out of himself. Jordan Ott said in the post game that Booker.
Oh shit!
Whoa! What the hell?
Some dogs bit off my nuts.
Dog fight over there.
They're fighting over my nuts.
But Jordan Ott said on Devin Booker, save himself from himself. That's what he did tonight. Is he saved Devin Booker from himself? And I think that Booker has been playing his ass off. He's been playing through injuries this year. He came back, I feel, from he tweaked that ankle against Miami in Miami earlier this season. And he was back like a game or two later. I was like, what? We both thought like that's a 2-week injury.
Definitely.
And he was back. So it'll be interesting to see over these next couple of days kind of what the injury report looks like, how the Suns want to play this. They got a back-to-back with Orlando at 3:00 on Saturday, and then they play on Sunday as well because fuck weekends. And so I wonder what it is and how long it could potentially linger for him. Because again, all the success that the Phoenix Suns are going to have this year are predicated on what Devin Booker ultimately can do. I understand that Dillon Brooks is kind of the quote unquote leader of this team, but he's definitely the emotional leader on this team. But you have to have somebody who's an efficient scorer if you want to make any noise. And Devin Booker getting hurt tonight, that kind of sucked, man.
Yeah. If you're okay with being in the 7th seed, does it change anything? Are the Suns really pushing to make that 6th seed? Because if they are, I think it changes how they attack this thing. I think really sitting Book is a smart thing to do, but Dillon Brooks has to think about, if I'm going to get another 2 techs and I'm going to be suspended again, that might cost us something in the standings. Like, are we okay with these guys missing games? Because we might have a chance to stick at the 7th seed with these guys missing multiple games.
Complacency is a dangerous thing. If you're okay with, right? If you're okay with being the 7th seed, then yes, you can miss some games.
Yeah.
That breeds complacency, and that right there is something that could ultimately be scary,
Yes.
right? Because it goes back to this kind of entire conversation that occurs every year around tanking. And I love what Matt Ishbia said today. He's like, tanking is kind of, it's a loser's mentality. And we know here in Phoenix. Now I will say, and I want to get your kind of points of view on tanking here. But I will say I don't care about tanking. I truly don't. Because again, the whole purpose of the draft, unless you redefine what the draft is, the whole purpose of the draft is to allow teams that are bad an opportunity to get young talent and be good again. Like that's what it is. And I've seen 5 million different ways to fix the draft and stop tanking and this, that, and the other. The one thing that I always argue, it's like, listen, it doesn't matter what you do, because organizations that have a loser mentality and are tanking will continue to lose because they have a loser mentality. And we've witnessed it here in Phoenix. We got caught in that cycle of trying to, TJ Warren, his neck, Devin Booker, his leg, they're just out. And then we get a high draft pick. But because we were okay with losing with young players, they learned that nothing was earned, right? Josh Jackson was just on the court. Dragon Bender was just on the court. Like, come on, Malawach and Rasheer Fleming, they're fighting for spots right now. So you can tank all you want. Two things are going to happen. One, the teams that aren't tanking are getting rewarded, like the Dallas Mavericks, right? They end up with Cooper Flag. And ultimately, you could bring those young guys in, but you bring them into a bad situation. It's almost like tanking to get a quarterback, and then your quarterback comes in, he's on a shitty team, and then he's not good. It's like, I wonder why that happened. So, again, the tanking thing doesn't really bother me too much. But again, if there's any semblance of complacency for this team to go sit there and go, you know what? If we make the play and this was a successful season, then that's not who this Suns team is. I don't think that they think like that. I don't think as a fan base, I want to think like that. I want us to, yes, think about being as competitive as possible while simultaneously understanding that there is a ceiling on this team, whether it's a seeding based or result based in the postseason.
So tanking, we want to get rid of it, right? You can't, because
I don't give a shit.
You can't. Well, the thing
why
is,
not?
You can't do it because we have a draft. Get rid of the draft. Get rid of the fucking draft.
Yeah, but then it's a whole nother problem, man.
No, it's not, because I solved it. I solved it.
Okay,
you want to hear what
I solved it for me, brother.
I solved it. All right, so let's just go through this really quick. I know we've been hearing a lot on Bill Simmons about a lot of people trying to change everything, but this is my idea. I think I fucking fix it all.
Okay.
All right. So
I have my version of fixing it too, and I'll run it by you. Yeah.
Yeah, please do. I love these so much.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
So I'm just tired of them.
I'm doing 72 games for the season.
Okay.
Right,
I love this.
It's 58 games to start. Every team plays one team each twice. All right. So that's 58 games. Then you have the All-Star break, because usually the All-Star break is 55 games, All-Star break, whatever. After that, you split these conferences up into 2 tiers. So the top 8 teams go to their own tier in each conference. Okay. They play each other. So that's another 14 games, 7 games each for each team. 14 games for each team. So that's going to be 72 total games in the playoffs, or in the season.
I'm tracking.
The second part of the season, which is the 14 games played, each win is worth 2 points. So you're going to a second part of the season where teams that are in the 8th seed can still jump to the 1st seed because their wins cost 2 points. All right. So it's a point system after that, adding onto your total victories. After that, it's like, okay, so the 7th and 8th seed are still in the play-in. All right. So that still counts as a play-in. So you still want to get a 6th seed. So that's still, like, I'm trying to make this to where everything in every part of the season is these guys want to play for something.
So back up. You said there's 2 tiers, right? How many teams are in each tier post All-Star break?
So each conference, there's going to be 2 tiers so 4 total tiers, but each conference has 1 tier that's the top tier, which is 8 and up.
Okay.
Right? 8 to 1.
Okay. And then
9 and then 9. Yeah. And then 9 to 15.
Yeah.
So then what do the other 7 teams play for in the conference? They actually play for, what they're going to do is the top 2 seeds, they're going to play they're going to play 12 games. So they play each other twice. That's 12 games. So they're going to play a 70 game season. So instead of 72, they're playing 70. Now these teams, what they're going to play for is the top 2 seeds. If they want to play in the play-in and try to find a spot in the playoffs, they can do that. But if not, then they're rewarded money to give to a draft prospect, like $7 million just to give to them, right? So either you can try to make the playoffs, you're like, hey, this team's actually good.
But if
Maybe
you
we
come
have a
up
chance.
short, you get a bunch of money to put
But
towards.
you can choose. You can choose what you want to do. So the top 2 seeds can choose. So number 1 and 2 can either get $7 million or $6 million to give to draft prospect next year and just be out of the playoffs, or go into the play-in. So the play-in might not exist, or it might exist depending on what those 2 seeds want to do. So you're continuing to play. So every team that's the bottom 7, they're going to continue to play like,
but
they start from zero.
I get
again.
that. So you what you're doing is you're maintaining competitiveness. But my
Yeah.
question is, in this scenario, what happens if you're the worst team still? Because somebody's got to be 15.
Yeah. So if you're like the Kings right now, so if you're
Yeah.
15, you're going to be in the bottom 7.
Yeah.
So if
and
you're
then
the
you
Kings,
end at
but-
number 15. What happens? You don't get the money.
No, you can though. So that's the thing. So if you think you're tanking to get a draft draft spot, there's no more draft. In my scenario, there's no draft.
Yeah.
If you think that you're going to get, excuse me, a draft spot, like a top 3 pick, you're not. You have to fight for it to get either money.
But what if
to
you fight
compensate,
for it and you fail?
Then you fail. You don't get it. You have to.
So how do you ever
to
get
compete.
better?
You have to continue to compete. That's all you do. But the thing is, listen. So the other side of it, like when you say like, how are you going to get better? Because you're not. There's no draft. So it doesn't mean you're going to get a low draft pick.
No, you're just going to get less money to spend on
Yeah.
this draft pool that's available. Not
Exactly.
draft pool, but pool of players
Yeah.
who can come in.
But the pool of players, there's no second round, nothing. So there's only one
Now,
pick
do the
for each
players
team.
have an? But okay,
Yes.
got you.
The
But
players get to choose where they want to go.
So
It's
they can
kind
sit
of
there and
like,
be like, I want to go to the Kings. I'll take
Yep.
less money.
yeah, and it's like, who wants to go to the Kings? Like, who wants? Why
Nobody.
would they want to go to the Lakers?
Yeah,
But
they'll
listen,
always-
like,
the
I
Kings
feel
will end
like-
up with the shittiest player every
No,
time. and
No,
they'll
but
never be good again.
I think the way the league is now, I think these players coming to the NBA, I think they really want their own team. I think they will come in. They'll be like, you know what, the Kings, they have $3 million because they finished like 4th or whatever in the standings of the second tier, right? So they just have an extra $3 million bonus to give me on top of what they pay, like a first round draft pick or whatever. But they interview, they do a whole month thing of interviewing, tryouts, getting to know each other. They have like their list of teams they want to go to. If you choose the Kings, you go there, that's your team. And I feel like these players coming into the draft, they should get to choose now. I feel like they have the opportunity to where they get to choose to go where they want to go. Like a Halliburton didn't want to go to the Suns, they want to get drafted or whatever.
Yeah, but no one
He
will
wanted to get
ever
his own team.
want to go to Utah. No one will ever.
I think they would. I think they would. I think the NBA now, 30 teams, there's going to be 32. I think it's a sexy thing to go to your own team now and kind of build from there.
But I disagree. I feel like guys, especially in those situations, about, oh, dude, I want to go play with Wemby, so I'm going to go. Now,
I don't think
they won't
so.
be in that pool. So okay.
I don't. If you're a top 3, if you're a top 3
view,
player coming, well, hold on. If you're a top 3 player coming in,
but what defines a
and
top
you
3
want to
player?
be the main guy, like the top 3 guys, Boozer, those guys coming out this year.
Okay.
If you think you're an all-star off the bat, second year all-star,
You don't
want to
go to.
You can play with Wemby if you want. You can play with Wemby, but also, I would rather have my own team. I don't want to be.
Yeah,
a
but see,
sidekick
I
to
disagree
Wemby.
because I think because you have to look at the long term. You can go, okay, I'm going to go play with Wemby. I'm going to be there for 4 years. I'm going to get a rookie extension, and then I can go have my own team after I've had some success. Versus being like,
You can
I'm
do
going to
that.
go. I'm a great player. I'm going to go to a shitty situation and just be there, and just lose.
But you can do that. But that team still has to choose you. Like you can want to go to the Spurs.
Everybody's
they're
going to
like-
want to choose Boozer.
No, I know, but no, listen, they are. But
It's like
he's
the Bill,
only,
it's like the Bill Simmons top 5 draft.
But it
thing.
depends where he wants to go too. It has to be mutual.
All right,
and if
so-
it's not mutual, then one guy wants to go to the Spurs, but on this list, he's like, okay, I really want to go to the Hawks, and they're great. I want to add to what they're doing. Then I'm gonna have to go to the Hawks. But that's what draft is. Like everyone wants to go to the best team, and they get chosen by whoever they want. But I think it should be the other side where they can choose where they want to go to, and it's a
too much
mutual
player
thing.
empowerment. All right, so
I like it.
Let
I think
me
it's
run.
brilliant.
Let me
Adam
run
Silver.
mine by you, okay?
I fixed the NBA.
All right, so here you go. You want to hear this one? So I think that the goal is to incentivize winning versus incentivize losing, because right now that's what's occurring. You're incentivized to lose, therefore you lose. So what you do is there are what I gotta do the math again in my head. There are 12 teams. So there's 8, 12, 16. Is it 16 teams? There's 16 teams that either lose in the first round of the playoffs or lose in the play-in. Or I'm sorry, I think it's 14. So you have 8 teams that lose in the first round in each conference, correct? So that's 16.
Yeah.
My math is wrong. I'm not mathing.
14, right?
It's 4. No, because how many rounds are there in the first? There's 4. So there's 8 teams. There's 8 teams that lose in the first round and 8 teams that move on, right?
Yeah.
And then there's 2 teams from each conference that made the play-in but lost, right? So that's a total of fucking math. I had this all written down.
I'm sorry.
All right. Let's do this again. So 6 teams in that's it. There's 6 teams in each conference that lose either in the play-in or the first round, correct?
Yeah.
So what you do is you take those 12 teams and you put them in the draft lottery even odds. Okay? So essentially, like, let's say the Suns are the 7th seed this year and they lose in the first round of the playoffs. They are put into the draft lottery. Now, the teams that finish below, right? The teams that are 13 to 22, all the other teams that didn't make the playoffs, they are in their own draft lottery after that. So if you're the Jazz or let's say you're the Warriors right now, and you're like, you know what? Everyone's injured. We don't want to play. Let's just sit this out and try to get a better draft pick. You don't get it incentivized to do that because you want to be in the play-in. Because if you lose, you have a chance at the lottery. So you redistribute the wealth, if you will, to the teams that are trying to win this time of year, and they make it to the playoffs and they lose. And there could be the upsets, right? Like, let's say the Suns go into the first round, they beat the Spurs. The Spurs are now in the draft lottery. But then teams 13 through 22, they're going to get the mid-round talent guys. And then everything else is determined after that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it kind of does. I got lost in the middle a little bit. Sorry, can you do that?
So if you're a team that loses in the first round or the play-in, right? You're the 8th seed and you lose to the Suns, and then you lose to the whoever won the 9-10 game.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You are entered into the draft lottery. Okay. Every team that loses in the first round. Okay. The Rockets lose to the Lakers.
Yeah.
The Rockets are in the draft lottery. That's a total of 12 teams that lose either in the first round or in the play-in. Those are the teams that are in the draft lottery. The draft lottery, it's even odds there. Everyone has the same amount of balls in there. Okay. All the teams that suck, they get draft picks 13 through 22, right? 23 through 30 is determined by the playoffs and all that stuff. So essentially what you're doing is you're saying, again, if you're a team that's the 11th seed like the Suns were last year, you're trying to get into at least the play-in, man, because that means you're going to get a lottery pick.
Okay, yeah, I do like that. I do. What if you do because my thing was like if you really suck like the Kings, like so you'll just get a mid pick because you're not be able. Okay, so but then they wouldn't ever be good again, then, right? Because I think with my thing is like you can incentivize with like money or something like that to get a player.
But with your thing, they don't have as much money still. You know what I mean? With my thing, you're 100% correct. The teams that will fall into that mid section, the worst teams in the NBA, are going to have a harder time in theory to get better, but they're still going to get a player between 13 and 22. So you still have the opportunity to build. But my other thing, and this is my point I made to my buddy when I made this, was the teams that always suck are the teams that always will suck, right? The Kings have had lottery picks forever. They suck.
Yeah.
Brooklyn forever. They suck. The Hornets are just now getting out of the mole right now. Gosh, who else is in there? The Bulls, they always suck. You know, I mean, so, and again, it's going back to a conversation we had earlier where it's just like perennial loser teams aren't perennial loser teams because of lack of talent. It's because they have a lack of ownership, that's smart leadership relative to coaching strategy, and they have a losing environment. So it's like, you know how cool it would be for the Suns to like go to the playoffs, lose in the first round, and they get like the 3rd pick.
Yeah, no, it'd be dope. But then I think a lot of people would be like, "How is that even fair?" I feel like, you know what I mean. There's always that thing of like the sucky teams. Like, how are they going to get better? It's like we don't know.
Exactly.
You know?
They've been trying to get better and they can't. They have all the lottery picks and the guys just leave. You know,
that's true. But back to my thing really quick with Mark Brooks. He says no one would go to the Jazz or Raptors. So I understand that. My big thing is like the rookies coming in. I feel like they need some opportunity to know like where they're going to fit. And like if they can choose where they want to go, like it might be the best
they can
fit
see
in
their
Utah.
role.
Yeah, they can see where they're because I feel like that's a big thing for these guys coming out. They're like they want to be used, they want to be a starter, they want to be the main guy, they want to make more money. And I feel like it gives them opportunity to do that. And I just think it'd be more. The draft sucks. It's no one watches it. I think it's boring as hell because they put on the wrong hats and stuff like that, and everyone knows who's going to pick. But I think it'd be fun for guys to like kind of reveal where they're going, like come out of a tunnel at. That wouldn't it be funny at America West Arena, the Suns Arena, whatever, where they come out. Then like we're all standing there waiting for the player, and they come out like, oh fuck, it's this guy, and he's just there to stay. He's like, yeah, I chose Phoenix. We're like, well, we don't want you. We just start booing him.
But we didn't choose you, man.
Yeah. Okay, well that was fun, dude. I think that's fun.
But at the end of the day, like there is no true fix, and it's just
Adam Silver is fucked. It's the one sport where it's like everyone hates the draft.
Well, but there's two things happening here. One, it's the time of year where people talk about it. In 2 weeks, no one will give a shit. Every year we go through this bullshit.
Yes, we do.
Every year, no one gives a shit by the time the draft comes around. They've done a good job flattening the odds. We've seen that. The teams that have finished with the worst record, when's the last time they got the first overall pick, man? The Suns got boned. We didn't get Ja Morant or Zion Williamson back in the day when we had the worst pick. We ended up with like the fifth or sixth. We had the sixth pick. We ended up taking what's his face out of Texas Tech, and we traded him for Dario Saric and Cam Johnson that night. I mean, it's just like the Suns consistently, and so I think that's the best you can do. You listen to the noise, and then you just carry the fuck on. And there's no true way to fix it. And again, in my opinion, like it's a good strategy by teams who are trying to get better. We're not winning it all this year. We have a shot to get Carlos Boozer's kid next year. Let's put ourselves in the best position to do so. And no matter what system you put in place, and I'll tell you, man, as somebody who managed processes at a hotel for 15 years, every process I put in place, guests would try to circumvent it. Everybody loves the rules until they're applied to them. And so whatever we put in, right, whatever strategy we come up with or anybody comes up with, ultimately they have a think tank of people sitting in a boardroom creatively thinking of ways to circumvent it. There's no true fix.
No, there's not. And the Matt Ishbia thing, I liked it, but honestly, when he gets in that situation where he's going to want to lose to get a guy, I think he's going to be over there telling the coach, like, hey, can we just get better odds?
Ishbia is the one guy I feel like who will do the right thing in this situation. And what's the right thing? If you're going to tank, you should refund your season ticket holders, give them like 10% back. Yeah, right.
That's the right thing to do.
Say remaining tickets for the rest of the season are 20% off, because you know what? You'll fill that fucking arena, and the fan base will embrace the tank. That's the problem, in my opinion. That's the number one problem right now with the tanking. It's not hurting the game of basketball. It's always fucking been there. It's always fucking been there. But it's the fact that people are paying for a product and they're not getting the return on their investment. And meanwhile, the prices continue to go higher and everybody bitches about it. It's like, you want to change the tide. If there's anybody who would do it, it's Matt Ishbia, the guy who introduced like $2 hot dogs. I'm going to buy you a TV antenna so you can watch the team. Hey, man, it's March. And you know what? This ain't the year. We have an opportunity to go get a top 5 guy. Here's 10% back. Here's 20%. Here's a prorated amount back. Take these and put them towards next year's season tickets. And Ishbia would do that and could do that. You do that, man, it completely changes the conversation. Because then what do people say? Man, they suck, but they give me my money back. Nobody would complain.
Yeah, it's such a bad look for the league, though, doing that. I feel like I think they would go to like baseball style, where it just be like half empty stands or whatever for the longest time. Because I feel like a lot of people are like, why would I go to a fucking game anymore? In 5 years, no one's gonna want to go to a basketball game unless every game is like the new arena that the Clippers play in with the wall and all that shit. Maybe that's fun.
I'll still go, man. I love going to games.
Yeah, I do too. But I feel like a lot of people, if you sit up top, it sucks. So, and no one has money.
Well, that's the problem. Is no one has the billionaires have all the money. It's how they can buy the team, So,
ooh. All right.
Yeah, that's it. All the other stuff, I don't really care. So let me ask you this before we get out of here. Thoughts on my pyramid? I don't know how much you saw, but I had 21,000 words I wrote for Bright Side of the Sun. I released the tiers of the greatest Suns of all time pyramid. Again, I didn't want to rank players. I didn't want to put them 1 through 21. I put them in 6 different tiers. Number 1, top tier being 1, second tier having 2, third tier having 3, so on and so forth. I'll go and I'll pull up the graphic. I just want to get kind of your point of view on this. For those of you
Yeah.
who didn't listen to the long series, I got Steve Nash as the face of the franchise in tier 1, Booker and Barkley in tier 2, Walter Davis, Kevin Johnson, Shawn Marion in tier 3, Stat, Westy, Thunder Dan, and Double A in tier 4, Jason Kidd, Connie Hawkins, Tom Chambers, Dick Van Arsdale, Chris Paul in tier 5, and tier 6 was Dennis Johnson, Stephon Marbury, Larry Nance, Raja Bell, Eddie Johnson, and Goran Dragic. So what do you agree with? What do you not agree with on the Phoenix Suns all-time pyramid?
So there's just a few things I would just add. I think Raja Bell, just swap him out with maybe Boris Diaw. I don't know. The only reason I say that is because I feel like he was such a big contributor to that Suns team. We didn't even realize till now, like just how great he was.
Yeah.
But I would kind of throw him in the contributors. So royalty in the face of the franchise. Do I agree? What?
Well, I was going to say, like, do you agree with Nash being at the top of the pyramid?
I think Booker should be there. What
Why?
like was it just because he is the face? I feel like of the franchise. Like he's untradeable. There's no opinions on him being overrated, underrated. Like he's just the guy in Phoenix. When it comes down in 20 years, like we're always gonna think of Booker. I feel like over Nash.
I don't disagree, and I actually so I initially had Booker as my number one guy, but as I went through the thought exercise, as I started weighing the different All-Star games, all NBA teams, records, I ultimately came to the conclusion that Booker isn't there yet. He's on the path to it, but he's 29 years old. Now, we got Nash when he was 30. When he came back, he was 30, and then he went on that long, sustained run of success. And that was the key differentiator for me, Matthew, was the fact that Nash not only was here, but he won consistently. Now, he didn't get to the finals, and some people say that, well, Booker made it to the finals. You're not wrong there. But you know what? How many Western Conference finals did Devin Booker go to? He's been to one. Nash was in there every fucking year, man. He won 2 MVPs. He could have been. He changed the sport. Booker's the greatest scorer we've ever seen in Phoenix Suns history statistically, but Nash changed the sport. And so I literally had everything written. I had my reasoning for why I was putting Booker on the top, and I spent like half a day just going back and like rethinking, rewriting, because I'm selling myself a lie. Maybe one day it'll be Booker, but right now it's Steve Nash.
Yeah, I think really in off form, it's Steve Nash for sure. Like, when they have the get-togethers for the reveal for the numbers last year, if Nash is there, it's such a big fucking deal, like over everybody. I mean, Barkley obviously is a big one, but when you see Steve Nash, it's a different kind of feeling I feel like you have over Booker for sure right now.
It is.
So
what do you think about Marion and Stoudemire? I had Marion in tier 3 and Stat in tier 4.
I think that's great. I think honestly, back then, 10 years ago, I would have said no Stoudemire, but it really was Shawn Marion. It's kind of like the Boris Diaw thing. When I look back, I'm like, yeah, Shawn Marion was definitely a pillar. Stoudemire belongs in tier 4. My only thing is with Chris Paul, because I always felt like he's right up there with Steve Nash as being the best point guard in franchise history. I maybe would have moved him up a little bit, but it's hard to fit him in there though when you're looking at it, right? Because I feel like even Dan Marley, you can't move him up or down.
Marley, you could probably move down. I think that was more of an emotional recognition than actual.
That whole team,
he meant a lot to me. I don't know if you saw, but I had something that I called the KD rule, where essentially, in order to be eligible, he won playoff games, man. He was here. Remember, they went to the second round his first season.
Yeah,
but in order to be eligible for the pyramid, you had to play at least 146 games with the Suns, and he played 145. That's I had the KD roll in
just
effect.
missed it. God, I love that guy.
Keith Nettles in the chat. He goes, "Where's Truck Robinson?" I went back. I don't know if you guys remember this, but once upon a time, I wrote this long article about early '80s Suns teams, and Truck Robinson, man, he was an absolute beast when he played for the Suns. He made one All-Star game. I think ultimately it's a flavor thing, right? He would be a tier 6 guy, and for Keith, who probably got to see him play, he replaces somebody like a Goran Dragic, who.
Yeah, it depends about the era when
big
you're
time.
Yeah,
and when it comes to that 6th and final tier, ultimately it's determined by what you witnessed and how. And I said that kind of the entire time I was writing the thing. I'm like, listen, especially tier 6, it is all based on bias.
Yeah.
And then Keith also says Horny was good. he was, but like how many other Suns in the pyramid did I have from that exact team? You know, like Eddie Johnson was there. I had Tom Chambers, Kevin Johnson, Dan Marley. Like that entire team was pretty much on the fucking.
It's biased kind of, but I feel like you do a
100%.
good job of just you have to do the research and just know what they meant to the franchise at that time too, and just how much down the line do these guys how are they remembered? Like, you know, the number of the retirees, how many people stick around if the Suns get blown. I'll never forget when Sean Marion got his retired after the game. Or no, his was in the middle, and Stoudemire was after, and everyone left for Stoudemire.
Yeah, they got pasted in both games,
booed, everyone walked out. But no, it's about the recognition and how much they meant it. And I think that you nailed it. Honestly, there's a few things that I wanted to change. That's it, though.
Well, I will say, if anybody's interested, the book will be for sale on Amazon here in a couple days. The hardcover is $19.68, 1968. The paperback is $13.34, which is Nash and Barkley. So if you want to support me, support the pod, go buy the book. It's a good coffee table book to have around. You know,
what about a book signing? Cold beers and cheeseburgers or something?
There you go.
Cool. We do a pod live. Everyone bring your book. We have a book signing and take some pictures.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll talk to you about
I'll be your secretary.
Because Keith Nettles has something that he's been thinking about doing, maybe for a playoff game that we can go to. Maybe we'll do a book signing at the end of it. That'd be great.
Oh, great. Yeah, that would be perfect.
It's actually not a bad idea. So on that note, Jamsters, the Suns lose to the Spurs. We didn't give you a lot of game coverage. I'll tell you just some quick things real quick. Devin Booker got hurt. Jalen Green looked good. Williams was challenging Wemby. I like seeing that. Grayson Allen's hurt. Everything looked easy for the Spurs and hard for the Suns because the Suns defense wasn't really effective and the Spurs defense was effective. And the final thing I'll say is I'm going to be so tough on Ryan Dunn this offseason. Like that's my mission in life is I'm going to be writing some pretty
he'll be gone
abrasive things about Ryan Dunn because I was again so pissed with him tonight. He had all these opportunities, just like the shot is just.
No, I know. Cool. The wide open three, he overshoots the rim. I was holding my bait. I'm like, fuck you. I screamed, fuck you.
He misses a
Ryan
bunny.
Dunn.
And watch him on the fucking perimeter, man. He's a weak side defender. He's always bleeding. And then he has to recover. And when he goes to recover, the guy just like steps to the left and like there's Ryan Dunn in the fucking first row. So
yeah, we should have traded him for Kyrie. Oh wait, that was Josh Jackson. Never mind.
Yeah, that's right. That is correct. So that's all we got. Interesting pod on Saturday. It's a 3. Well, this is a great pod.
Oh yeah. 3:00 game.
The 3:00 game. So it'll end about 5:30. I got a poker game at 7. We'll make it happen.
Yeah, I think I have plans too, but we'll figure it out.
Well, we'll see you Saturday, Jamsters. Matthew, tell them what to do.
All right, go home, live family.
Hey, you're listening to the Suns Jam Session Podcast, shooting the shit about the Suns since 2019.